I'm in a motel room in Sheridan, Wyoming somewhere, wearing my favorite beanie and my favorite sweatshirt. I had this sweatshirt in the donation bin. I was like, look at it. It looks like I haven't washed it. Like, it has, ew. And I was like, I had this beanie actually in the laundry along with the sweatshirt so that I could wash it and donate it so that I would stop wearing it. And my mom gave me another beanie, but I'm like, I like this one. So I did wear the other beanie. I was like, but I don't even, it doesn't fit right. It doesn't look right. And I like this homeless look here. So, I am, when do we know? We think we know things, but we really don't. Like, I want to think that I've learned all this stuff. You know, I always say I know nothing. I really know nothing. If I knew anything, my life would be in a different, my life would be different. The physical, like the reality of it. And so where I've been at, it's just working on a goal. I'm getting really tired, of saying the same thing. Like, you know, this past, actually not the past year, maybe the past year, but definitely the past couple of months, it's like I've been coming up roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And I recognize that, like for a while, I think I was just like practicing like active avoidance. Like, I'm like, okay, I know that there's all these things that I need to do that are going to be waiting. This is when I was in Alaska, that I was like, oh, I know I'm going to have to deal with once I go home. When I say home, I mean, you know, lower 48, somewhere, wherever that is, where I have access to regular, like daily living activities. And so here I am, and just, I had a job, I quit. I'm just like, there's just so many things that that I'm not willing to do in the meanwhile anymore. And so, while I do the thing that I want, but I'm like in this stage where I've been like financially preparing myself, and maybe for somebody else's standards, like it's like I have enough money to do that, but it's just kind of like, when is enough, you know? Like, I have not financial security. I have a cushion, but not necessarily financial security. And so what I mean by that is that I'd rather have, like, say, an established income, a regular established income that continues to grow, rather than dwindling my savings. And so because that goes contrary to what it is I'm trying to achieve. But as far as me being here, I'm over here, I've neglected, like, I've neglected my mind, not in learning, not in reading. I'm like, that's a passion and something I do every day. I'm set out to learn something every day, continued learning over the course of my life. But just as in, like, applying the things that I know. So if like, you know, LOA, law of attraction or whatever, was like really big like 2 or 3 years ago. And now everyone's talking about modern man, modern woman, you know, like the trends on YouTube and TikTok or whatever. And so now, but going to manifestation, like if I'm actively trying to change my life, like I think the major roadblock is my way of thinking. Like, I have just become so disillusioned, maybe with the results that I'm getting, my attitude. I'm not happy with my attitude, and I continuously said, you know, for a couple of people that are close to me, I was like, I intend that I change my attitude. And they're like, well, what's wrong with your attitude? And I was like, oh my God, there's so much that needs to be improved upon. And so I'm over here like on YouTube watching these manifestation videos, and just kind of like, and I was in a period like this before. And the reason I do it is not that I believe that anybody knows better than myself what is good for me. That is not what it is, but it's just to surround myself with, if I don't have those people in my reality and my physical reality, I was like, well, let me go online and try to feed myself, what is it, like some inspiration, you know, and just to reset my thinking, because the world in which I've been living in, and the people that maybe like in the jobs, but that I've been surrounded by, are on a different pattern, just like a ho-hum pattern, not everybody. It's not to criticize those and saying that my way is the best way. That's not what it is. But actually, this job that I quit on Monday, that was one thing that I started. I was there a total of 4 hours, and I'm like, I didn't even do the employment paperwork. I was like, whatever, just consider it a squash for the inconvenience I caused you, right? And so, you know, I was standing at following my trainer, standing at the nurse's station. And so all the girls, they were talking, yeah, we're like December 5th or whatever. And they're like, yeah, I can't wait till tax season gets started. They're like, oh, so I can get that income tax check money. And I was like, I got bills to pay, so maybe I could catch up a little bit. And I'm just like, oh my God, we're going back to this. Like, that's actually why I used to do like bankruptcy counseling, and I used to work in a tax office, and I worked like for Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block, and then later I went on to go work for a CPA. My experience of working for the CPA was a much improved over Jackson Hewitt and H&R Block. And not to say that everybody that visits those locations is in a similar financial situation, but it does attract a certain demographic. Anyway, so the girls are like, yeah. And I was like, I had nothing to contribute to that conversation. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if anything, I'm like, you know, doing that thing so that I don't hear this. I'm like, I don't want to hear about being broke. She's like, I'm BROKE, broke. And I'm like, wouldn't you be embarrassed about saying that? Like, even the times that I've had nothing negative where my car was repossessed and stuff like that, I never talked about it. Not to be ashamed of it. I just think that there's and maybe this is me being, obviously I am applying my judgment to that situation and the way the person was speaking the reality of her life. But I'm like, I don't want to be surrounded by that. I want to talk about rich people issues. I'm like, hey, where do I invest my money? Oh, what's the how do you say, like, allocation of my portfolio? You know, things like that. And so, as far as today goes, I just realized it, and I was like, I now, so if I always say that I know nothing, now I really know nothing, because I'm like, I believe that if you know something, you apply it, and it works successfully in your life. So obviously these things that I've learned, thought I learned, or that I've obviously forgot, and I'm having to remind myself of, is my mindset. And so, law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, manifestation and stuff like that. I was like, what really do I know if I'm not doing it in my life? Because right now, I look around me, this is what I created. And I was like, oh my God. And I guess maybe because of the setting in which I've been in, I haven't been able, I guess maybe had the luxury of, it's just kind of like, it's production-based work, you know, when I'm working in kitchens and stuff like that, it's production-based work. You just want to sleep, like, pretty much get up, go to work, sleep, eat, go to work, you know, and that's what you do. So, and that's what I've been doing. And so just, I haven't been feeding my brain in I guess maybe I'll say like a metaphysical sense. And so perhaps that is where my growth has stalled. Either that or the universe is obviously sending me some clear signs, and that's where I'm at. But it's so hard to determine, it's like, what step to take next, because obviously this isn't for me anymore. I don't want this anymore. But even though I don't want this anymore, and I know what I want my future to look like, and I've said this before, I was like, how do I create the bridge? And that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm doing here in this hotel room, random hotel room somewhere in Wyoming. But if anybody else is going through the same thing, I'd like to know how you're getting through it, or if any of what I have said makes sense to you. And I'm like, you know, there's some things that I continue to do, mindful of my eating, now that I have control over what is available to me, you know, like within my budget and stuff like that, going to work out, doing things like that. But like so I'm considering this a season. So a season, but I'm like, even though if it's a season, and I know that this isn't going to be the reality of my life ongoing, I pray to God that it's not, and I'm doing things possible so that this isn't what I'm experiencing right now, isn't my reality when I'm much older, like much, much older. So taking necessary steps to adjust myself so that I change things. but it doesn't mean that it's easy. And I do feel kind of like a loser. And I'm like, why? But I guess that's the way of like the universe clearing out for me. As maybe for yourself, like if something's not working, either it's not for me, try harder, it's not for me, adjust the approach, or the universe is clearing out the way for better things. And that's what I trust. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with any suffering in between.